Hi, everyone. I'm glad you're here today to join me and share the share an hour together. And I thought today, in honor of Friend a Tree Week, where I encourage people to send your intentions throughout the universe by holding a tree and letting the tree send your intentions up through its energy and out into the ether that goes everywhere. So, in honor of Friend a Tree Week, I'm going to read from some excerpts from my book, Ancestral River, A Spiritual Journey for the Living and the Dead. And my book parallels my inner healing story, my inner healing journey, with the journey that I see ancestors making while they're transitioning from um, the waiting place and getting ready to go into the next realm, or going to the oneness, as I call it. It also parallels with what I learned about ancestors and my experience with them. And a big part of my spiritual journey was learning about trees, and not just trees, but all plants and astrological energies as well, and how they're always working for our favor, that they're full of divine wisdom and knowledge, that they give us strength and healing. And it's wonderful. It changes my perspective whenever I think about it. It changes my perspective from perhaps fear and uncertainty of what's going on in the world and how things work and what my purpose or passion is. And when I think of how all these things, of how the universe is always working in our favor, and that these things, the trees and plants and astrological energies, are always here for us, for our highest spiritual good, it just wipes that fear and uncertainty away and creates a centered base of love in my heart. So I'm just going to read some excerpts from my book, and I'll tell you what chapter they're from. And sometimes it's just a little bit from each chapter, and some are a little bit extra. And I'll be going along with also reading about how I learned about holding our spirit's desires and how to send those through trees. And I may be making comments along as I go. So we'll see what happens as I read about trees and as I listen to spirit. Early in the morning, this is from chapter 6. Early in the morning, I ran barefoot in the garden. The rush of starlight that had soaked into the earth flowed through me and into the sky. I turned around slowly, looking at each tree and bush with the intention of lighting it up and renewing its energy, and joy surged through me also. One day I overheard part of a podcast, and it was saying that the earth retains the emotions of people who live in it. Trees will tell you what the land feels. So I went outdoors, placed my hands on a tree, and quieted my mind. Energy flowed through me. Straight up and down, I could feel the tree energy. In a few seconds, I was smiling. The tree was happy. Days later, I stood next to another tree in the garden. I placed one of my arms around its trunk and both hands on the bark. My mind was clear of any thought except to feel into the tree energy. I breathed deeply. Suddenly, I was giggling. This tree was happy too. I tuned it with my forks, but I didn't feel the energy and interaction as strongly as when I just held the trees and listened. Walking through our yard, touching each tree, I said, "Thank you for being a beautiful part of my yard," or "Thank you for your shade, for being shelter for the birds and animals." Holding a strand of flowers on a shrub, I said, "I'd like to feel your energy." A soft wave of energy flowed through me, as gentle and lovely as the flowers. I said, "You're beautiful. Thank you." Still holding the strand, I turned to go, but the vibration was trying to tell me something. It said, "I'm glad you care." Tears filled my eyes, and I told the bush, "Thank you for wanting me to." And then I'll go to a little further in chapter 6. Hmm. Well, sorry, I forgot to. Okay, sorry. One evening, I embraced the tree by a front door and held an intention to ground myself to the smaller of the two ley lines that flowed through our yard. They were flowing a few feet behind me, the ley line was. The energy was strong, calm, and knowing, this energy that I could feel from the tree. I drew a quick breath. Deep in the ley line, I could feel the concentrated presence of God. "You're here. Are you surprised?" the Spirit asked me. Having old beliefs from how I was raised in a religion ingrained in me, I still thought of God as being in heaven, in the air, and not in the earth. And I said, "Well, I didn't expect it, but I'm happy to know you're in the ley line." And the Spirit said, "It's all good." Did God mean all of creation or all of his energy? And I heard it again. "It's all good with your life, too." So I grounded myself to his presence in the ley line every day, sitting in the vortex. And then I'm going to go to chapter 8. Every day became an adventure as I glimpsed sparkles or felt swirls of spirit presence around me. Experimenting barefoot in my garden by sensing vibrations after a thunderstorm and hugging trees for more energy, I said to a tree, "Do you have a word for me?" The wisdom of the universe was in the tree. It said, "We long for you just as you long for us." As I sat in my grandma's antique rocker in the vortex one morning in our home, Universal Spirit took me in a vision to a beautiful garden. The whole earth was before me. Giant trees acted as living Tesla towers, conducting the vibration of crystals in the earth through their leaves to recharge the energy of the universe. The leaves of the trees were as long as my hand, thick and narrow, with pointed ends. They stayed green and vibrant long after being picked. In my vision, I could see people place leaves in their home to feel the energy. Some traveled far distances to obtain them. The trees maintained the high voltage of the angels and ancestors in the oneness and recharged the energy of the people on earth who wanted it. These trees represented people's spiritual connection with the angels and the oneness. Later, I said to my friend, "I want to increase my senses to feel a deeper connection with spirit." She said, "Years ago, I toured pyramids and artifacts of Egypt. Anthropologists in the group agreed that the ancient hieroglyphics indicated that humans had 360 senses. A picture flashed in my mind and tingles ran through my body. The hieroglyphics are referring to the human biofield. It's a 360-degree sensing system. That's what the giant trees were for. People received a daily biofield session if they chose to tune into the tree's vibration with their spirit. But people forget They were spirit beings, and the trees were cut down. And then I'll read from chapter 11. Overwhelmed with worry for my grown children one day, I asked my ancestors in the oneness for wisdom, and my father in the oneness said, "I worried about your decisions, knowing you would hurt, knowing your children would hurt. But I couldn't stop. This worry was making me ill. I said to Universal Spirit, help me. My mind won't stop." Universal Spirit's words were soft and kind. "Give it to me. Consciously choose to let me hold your mind." My mind had forgotten I was spirit. I had forgotten my emotions and memories were all held by Universal Spirit in the light waves around me. Consciously choosing for my spirit to be in charge, I said, "Mind, you've worked so hard to keep me safe. Thank you. But I don't want you to be frazzled, so I'm giving you to Universal Spirit, the one who holds all things. You're made of spirit. It's holding you. You're not alone. You're always safe, always held." And immediately my mind went deeply calm for several hours. Every time I felt the slightest hint of fight or flight worry begin, I lovingly said, "Mind, you are held by Universal Spirit." And each time my worry stopped and gratitude filled my heart. I focused and thought clearly again, calm and free of fear. After I tuned my biofield one day, several of my ancestors from generations long ago were ready to transition, but one drew my attention. Without thinking, words flowed through my mouth. "It's you. Thank you for all you've done." He must have had an important role in the world, perhaps like Abraham Lincoln. Now, why in the world did I think of Abraham Lincoln then? Did he look like Lincoln? What would remind me of Abraham Lincoln? The ancestor left in the vortex. Weeks later, a friend announced she was expecting her first child. Knowing that in the womb the baby's spirit would remember being in the oneness, I said to Universal Spirit, "How can I help this baby remember that she's always part of the oneness?" And Spirit said, "Hold her like I hold you." Universal Spirit took me in a vision past the stars, sun, and moon. A little baby was very scared. It was me. I held her close. "Everything's okay, little one." Universal Spirit said, "I held you when you were scared." So I asked, "When I was in the womb or during the trauma when I was 3?" Spirit said, "I hold you always. But in the womb, the mind soon forgot being held. Parents need to hold the Spirit's intentions for their children beginning at conception and teach them that they were part of the oneness. Few people hold their future generations now." Somehow, knowing that Universal Spirit I was really we, I said, "Well, I'd like to meet the ancestor who held me." As I stood in the oneness, ancestors gathered in front of me. A path opened down the center. Again, my words came without thinking. "It's you." The important work of my Abraham Lincoln type ancestor had been holding this intention for my spirit to remember that I was one with Universal Spirit. I said, "Well, who are you?" And he said, "My name doesn't matter. I'm from Tobias's clan." That would be my dad's family. During gestation, my mind had forgotten my oneness. Yet long before I was born, this paternal ancestor had held my spirit's intentions for me. Was this why I had yearned for Universal Spirit all my life? Universal Spirit took me within myself again to feel my spirit's intention being held for me. The vibration was loving and being loved at the same time. It was an affirmation of the oneness my spirit already felt, and a confirmation of my desire for the oneness, and a reminder to keep my spirit in charge of my mind so I could choose how to act instead of reacting from fear of not having or being enough. My friend's baby was just 4 weeks from conception. I focused my attention on feeling the joy of my ancestors and the oneness while holding that feeling of joy. I connected with her spirit, my thoughts encouraging her to feel the oneness. My spirit bridged any gap between her spirit and the love, joy, and gratitude of the oneness. Feeling the sweetness of her pure vibration of love, held and said her spirit's intention to her. You are one with universal spirit. I held her spirit's intention for her every day. At 6 weeks of gestation, a return vibration of love came from her. Soon I felt the connection every day. Often her attention flowed to my chair through the ley line and landed in my lap. One day at 8 weeks into gestation, her vibration was sad. As I sent her joy, her sadness turned to love. 4 months into gestation, something was different one morning. The return vibration was fight or flight. Her energy was going round and round. She was scared. I connected with the oneness and held her with their love and joy. I reassured her that she had all she needed, that she was always connected to universal spirit, and that her spirit was in charge of her mind. And soon her mind quieted. One day the baby spirit spoke to me. Why do you feel sad? I'm not sad, I said. No, I was worried. I was worried about money. Feeling lack led to my old story that I wasn't worthy of having enough money. But under the unworthiness in my body, I felt something else. The baby was right. My spirit was sad that my mind didn't know I was enough. 2 weeks before the due date, the baby's attention was directed to her body as it prepared for birth. She felt uncertainty and fear. I sent her the vibration of love and joy to help her connect with the oneness. Let the fear flow through you. Let it go. Your birth is perfect timing. 2 days before her due date, her energy was completely focused on her mom. I said to Universal Spirit, I know this is the way it should be, but I'll miss connecting with her spirit. My job is done. I could hear Spirit laughing. Your job is just beginning. Rest and wait. The baby and parents were at the hospital, but her attention was with me while I held her intention that morning of her birth. She said, It's dark and scary. Yes, I said, it feels that way, but everything's okay. This is your birth. Focus on the oneness. I filled my heart with vibrations of love and joy to help her, and she became calm. 2 days after she was born, her spirit heard my thoughts and remembered the oneness as I held her spirit's intention. But she didn't recognize my individual vibration. Her mind didn't remember being held. Without her personal connection, I held the spirit's intention for her and her family, for myself and my family, all my relatives and friends, and for everyone living and all future generations, and for all ancestors and angels in the waiting place and in the oneness. I held the intention for children to help them remember the feeling of being spirit so they would have fewer old stories and fewer patterns of fight, flight, or freeze. I held adults to help them live a spirit, feel a connection with the oneness, be more at ease with life, and be able to transition into the oneness at the point of death. I held grayscale angels and ancestors, those in the waiting place around us, to help them find their way to the oneness much sooner. I held intentions for all those in the oneness, including those who have not yet lived a physical life, to affirm the love I shared with them and to increase their voltage. As I held the Spirit's intention for the baby every day and held the same intentions for everyone in the universe, those in the oneness held the intentions with me, amplifying the intention in all. And then I'll go into chapter 19. In springtime, we drove through a large city. Most trees were surrounded by concrete. Universal Spirit said, "Hear my voice." My eyes were overwhelmed with the sadness I could feel in nature in the city. "Why are the trees so sad?" "You know," said Spirit. I listened again. The trees could not feel Universal Spirit the way they wanted to. The city had low spiritual voltage. Electromagnetic interference was high, and most people had forgotten how to connect with nature or Universal Spirit every day. Their minds turned as fast as the trees on their cars, as the tires on their cars. Sorry. Focusing my mind to be on the spiritual connection between the trees and Universal Spirit, my pulse surged up and down in my central channel and then stopped. The sadness of nature poured through me again. Every tree said, "Why don't they want me? I'm here for them." But the words were Universal Spirit. Sorry. Excuse me. But the words were Universal Spirit. The whole was yearning for all the parts. As I continued to focus, sadness released and their connection to the oneness was restored. Other people in the city were consciously being the connection between nature and Universal Spirit too, just not enough for continual connection. Home again, I held a tree outside our front door. The tree said, "Learn all you can so you can help us." "What do you mean?" I asked. The tree spoke. "Things will get worse before they get better. You can help us." "Well, what do I need to learn? What's going to happen?" "We'll help you too," they said. So what did I need to learn? How could I help the trees or the universe? I said to Universal Spirit, "Please bring me what I need to help the trees and everyone else during the times coming." My plea flowed through the universe. The oneness was near. My dad stood on my right, and the ancestor who had held my spirit intention was on the right. My grandpa was on the left, from my mother's side, with the ancient grandfather who knew about the sky clock. My Gabriel, my guardian angel, placed information into my central channel to be revealed to my conscious mind at the right time. That evening, the friend who had told me about Egyptian hieroglyphics sent me a video link. "You'll understand this in your own knowledge." A sentence halfway through the video spoke to me. Because all trees were connected through the earth, they broadcast our intention to the universe millions of times through their leaves. So I ran outside and held the tree again, standing as close as I could, hands and forehead touching its trunk. I said with all my heart, "Please broadcast my love for Universal Spirit, the universe, and nature, and broadcast my desire to flow with the abundance of the universe." Strong tree energy pulled my own energy upward and out through its leaves and into the universe for a few powerful seconds. The tree said, "It is done." "How often do I need to broadcast my intentions?" I asked. The tree said, "Anytime a desire from your spirit needs to be broadcast." A few days later, I emailed my hypnotherapist a new list of questions because I went to her for spiritual hypnosis to learn from the oneness. She helped me settle into awareness of being part of the oneness and then read one of my questions. "The trees told you things will get bad before they get better. How can you help nature prepare for and thrive during those difficult times? I felt the oneness and told my friend what they said. We can send our intention of restoration, our positive voltage, and our love for nature through the trees into the universe. Electromagnetic frequencies and people's intentions of control, these interfere with nature's ability to receive the helpful vibrations it needs from the universe. After the session, I discussed ideas with my guardian angel. I know we have the power of universal spirit within us. When we choose to live as spirit beings instead of just the physical, our voltage is very great and will really help nature. But is there more that I need to know? Gabriel said, the positive voltage of your intention will change harmful frequencies to helpful ones. Send it through the trees. The love and gratitude of nature helped me form an intention. The next morning, rain energy filled my garden, amplifying those intentions as I held a tree. Please send the intention that my energy will transmute harmful electromagnetic frequencies into the next higher frequency. My intention flowed with the tree through the leaves and into the sky, but I didn't feel it as powerful as I thought I would. I said to Universal Spirit, what can I do to help my intention be more effective? And the tree said, it doesn't have to be for the next highest frequency, just transmute it into helpful ones. And my Gabriel said, after focusing on sending the intention through the trees, place your attention in the sky as if you are actually seeing the harmful frequencies being changed into helpful ones. So I held the tree in my intention again, seeing in my mind the power of the universe transmuting the energy in the sky. Powerful energy surged through me. When it subsided, I stepped away from the tree, still full of energy. Maybe I could make the intention even stronger by organizing a group of people to hold the trees at the same time. We could recharge ourselves as we help the universe. And tears filled my eyes. I said to Universal Spirit, thank you so much. And I hugged the tree, wondering what it thought. And the tree said, we love you. You are sunshine for our soul. Thank you for all your help. And then I'm going to read from one more chapter, the last chapter in the book. And so I was working with a client, and after the client's ancestors transitioned into the oneness, he said, what's God's call for my life? I said, it's the same as his call for all of us. He wants us to know who we are as an integral part of him and to create our lives by fully expressing our individual spirit's desires for the highest good of all. I think knowledge of the afterlife was purposefully hidden through the centuries because if we knew we were spirit, we'd have the power to change ourselves and the world. Like many of the ancestors in the waiting place, I had waited powerless most of my life because I didn't know who I was. Thinking that I lacked, thinking that I was unworthy and not enough, I held on to fear instead of remembering I was always safe. Clearing the old patterns within me and my ancestors helped me open to the abundance of the love, joy, and gratitude of the universe. In a vision, Universal Spirit took me to a time when every being who was ever created was in the oneness again. All the energy of the universe was oneness. Everyone was in the present moment. Whatever we wanted to see or experience was brought into reality in front of us. And when our thoughts changed, the energy melded and remade new. I said to the ancestors in the oneness, are you looking forward to this? I felt their joy and love of knowing that not only did they have the abundance of universal spirit now within the biofield of oneness, but that all of the universe would be oneness again forever. I hugged a tree in front of my home, hands on its bark and bare feet on the soil, and the tree said, what intention are you holding today? I sent the intention to transmute all the harmful frequencies into helpful ones, and I held the intention to restore my heart and mind. The tree said, "Hold me." And why did I say that? I was already holding the tree. I went inside for meditation, sat in my grandmother's rocker in the center of the ley line vortex, and sent my love radiating throughout the universe. And Universal Spirit said, "Hold me." And then I knew. As I hugged the tree again, I pictured in my mind the oneness as I had seen in a vision, when all who ever existed were standing as one, and held their joy and love in my heart for them. Then, holding Universal Spirit's intention on behalf of every part and the whole, I said, "I am holding all people living and all generations yet to live, all ancestors and angels in the waiting place, all of nature and all of the oneness, including the sky clock and deep energy. I hold you, Universal Spirit." As all parts of the universe stood before me and with me, I spoke as one. The river of love I usually felt from my ancestors became an ocean. We know we are spirit beings. We align our minds to hear our spirit. We choose to live a spirit. We are living in harmony with the abundance of the universe and receiving everything as good. And we are fully expressing ourselves for the highest good of all, for our own restoration, and for the restoration of all things. As my spirit's intention was broadcast through the trees, the energy of the universe expanded into all it was meant to be, full capacity unknown since the beginning, amplified limitlessly beyond the biofield of oneness into unending universal spirit. And then it came back to me. We were one. The power I needed to fully be all my spirit can be, and for the restoration of all things, was always within me. I said, "I give thanks," and so it is. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of Friend of Tree Week, and however you were part of that. And it's not too late. Friend of Tree Week this year in 2025 in September runs from September 19th through 25. The energy of the equinox waxes and wanes just like the moon does. And so I allow 3 weeks into growing to its fullness, and 3 days, I'm sorry, 3 days in growing to its fullness, and 3 days after it to wane those energies again. And so you have another 2 days this year to go hold a tree. And again, thank you for holding the tree energy. Thank you for holding the universe for this restoration of all things that wants to happen, and for the restoration of your own heart and soul. So I'll see you next week. I'll see you tomorrow if you come. Tomorrow I'll be talking about the moon energy this week, and I'll be doing a mini tuning tomorrow night at 7 after I talk a little bit about moon energy. So I hope you join me then, and next Tuesday also. So until then, I give you thanks and love. Bye bye.